Hi everyone, it's Kim from Handmade by Kim, and today I'm going to show you how I made my third swap for the Pinkies Retreat. So far on my channel you would have already seen a double Z fold card and a pop-out gate fold card. They were swaps that I made for the Pinkies Retreat where we could join a small swap group of 5 other people and spend a little bit more time on our swap. So what I decided to do was make 3 different fancy folds, and I'm going to show you how I made this one today. Now this card, you may have seen a similar version before, but I thought I'd change things up a little bit. So I have used the Wishes and Wonder bundle. So the swap group I joined for this one was any bundle swap group, which means that you just got to focus purely on that bundle and really show off what you can do with it. So here is the stamp set, absolutely wonderful. Love the deer and the sleigh, and these are the greatest. This stamp here is just fantastic. I love it. It's really great. And then we also have the dies, which are just as good. We have these 3 here which cut out the stamped images. I tend to always separate my dies like that. And then we have these which are the tag die. That one's fabulous as well, and so are all of these. I've used them so much. It's probably been my most used bundle from this catalogue, and I certainly will be hanging on to that one. So what I wanted to do was make a card that really showcased all of those big pieces. Well, I couldn't do all of them, but I have actually done quite a lot. So this is the front of the card. So it's all white and silver. So I've got some pictures on my blog, but you'll see so much better in this video how lovely the silver looks on the white. And then it opens up like this and basically stands in an upright position. So the person receiving it will stand up like this. So if I just turn it around now to show you, it has got a reindeer scene, and inside it's got the sentiment, "May the wonder of Christmas stay with you throughout the coming year." So I've used pretty much all the stamps bar the to and from. I've used every single one. So we have the "Wishing you the happiest season of all," the reindeer and the sleigh, this piece of foliage here, the "May the wonder of Christmas stay without you through the coming year," the "Maid in the North Pole," and the "Special Delivery." So that's the only one I haven't used. So I really thought this card really showed off this bundle really well. So you may have noticed there's also some DSP, and that's from the Feels Like Frost 6x6 DSP, and I just thought this snowy background was just perfect. I've actually also added a little piece on the edge too. So normally I think you would have seen a card like this in this kind of portrait position and open like this. So you'll recognise now that this layout, but I think you don't have to have it like that. You could have it like this, and it just really gave me the opportunity to build this scene. So it's nice on the front, but also great opened up as well. Okay, so I'm going to just put that to one side, and I'm going to talk you through how I created this. So unfortunately you can only get one of these out of a sheet of A4, but you know what, I think it's absolutely worth it. So I've got a piece of Whisper White thick cardstock, and this measures 14.9 centimetres by 29.8 centimetres, which is the complete length of the A4 sheet. So if you are working with other sizes, there are lots of other tutorials online which could give you another version in inches, and you can just adapt yours however best. So I know that in America your paper size is slightly different. So when folded though, that this card is exactly the same size as our normal standard UK card, so it will fit in our envelopes. So what you want to do is you want to get your trimmer, because we are going to be scoring in centimetres, so we can't do that with our scoreboard, and we're going to need to extend the arm. So we are going to score on the long side at 10 centimeters, 19, 20 and 29. So we're cutting it a little bit thin here with only a tiny bit there, but don't worry, it's all going to work. Okay, so let's bring the card back in, and we are going to burnish some of these lines. Okay, so with the thin score line at the bottom, we are going to fold this piece like that. So that's going to be that section there, and then we are going to fold that one in. Same with that one, and the same with this little teeny piece at the end. What I'm just going to do is apply some tape. Now I've got some really skinny double-sided tape. Just see the tear and tape probably just about fit, but I'm just going to use this one. Just going to make sure, yeah, that's right. Need to put that. I'll explain this in just a second. Okay, so with this fold like this, you're going to put the tape on the opposite side. Okay, so we're not going to stick it down just yet, but the idea is that you're simply going to keep that flat and then just fold that down, and everything will be in the right place and everything will line up. So if you can see here, I've added DSP to that edge. So I'm going to do that bit now as well, because that will make life a lot easier. So this measures, let me keep this in centimetres, just 1 centimetre, and I've kept it at the right width, so I'm just going to cut it down when it's in place. So I'm just going to use some Tombow just to apply some glue. Just want to make sure it reaches the side, so I just had to shift that along a little bit. It was absolutely fine. Let's get my paper snips, cut that into place. I sometimes find, even if you know the width for something and you cut a piece of DSP like that, it might just be a smidgen short and it just won't look great. So I think sometimes it's just better cutting it when it's in place. Okay, so what we're going to do is die cut this hole. So I'm going to use stitched nested label die, which is the perfect size for that sentiment, and I'm going to cut a hole like that. So I'm just going to get, I've got a little bit of masking tape because I want this to be, I don't want it to move while it's in my cutting machine. And I'm just going to go and die cut that now. Okay, so I have just die cut that, and you're not going to need this piece, but perfect for your box of die cuts to use at another time. And then what we're going to do is we're going to make a rough mark where we're going to stamp our sentiment. So I'm kind of positioning it as to where it would be if it was in position, and I'm just going to do a little pencil mark where roughly the centre is. So you don't want to lay it flat because it's going to be completely in the wrong place. Either way, it's got to be you've got to kind of position it like this to find out where the centre is. Okay. So what we're going to do now is do some of the silver embossing. I'm going to take my embossing buddy and really give that a good dust there, because that's the inside with a little bit of pencil mark, and this is the top, so we're also going to do some here as well. So give that a good dusting. So got my birthmark and my first sentiment, the May, the wonder of Christmas, stay with you throughout the coming year. And I'm going to make sure I've got loads of birthmark on that. And I'm going to stamp that roughly where that pencil line is. It doesn't have to be exact, it just means your sentiment's going to be in that window. Okay, I'm going to bring in my silver embossing powder. Okay, so there is a little bit of powder on the card, so I'm just going to lightly dust that away with my little paintbrush, because we don't want that to be there while we're heat embossing. What we're going to do is the top, and let's make sure that's a little bit warm. So we're going to do the top. So remember, it's folding like this. And what I have, you may have one of these. It's a Versamark marker. So if you don't have one, I'm sure you'll find a way to create the same thing with your Versamark ink pad. It's got a fat end and a thin writing end, and I'm pretty sure I used a thin end. So what I did is I took my ruler, and I think it was just slightly wider than my ruler. I just drew a line with the Versamark pen, and then again slightly wider than my ruler, I've just drawn another line. So what I wanted this to look like was almost like a wrapped present with some ribbon around it. I don't actually have a stamp. I don't think I've got a stamp that looks like a ribbon. I think I actually might have found one, but I think I still decided that this little piece here looked quite cute as it was. So as well, you'll notice I've got special delivery in the bottom. So I'm just going to take my special delivery stamp, ink that up really well, and just at an angle stamp that there. Okay, let's just get lots of embossing powder and all of that. I only recently put my embossing powder in these little plastic tubs. For years I've been working with them in the little tubs they came in, and I never used to really emboss that much. The powder does seem to irritate my hands. I'm quite sensitive, so I wonder if that was one of the reasons, but now I can't stop embossing and I don't care anymore about the powder. It is what it is. Just get that out of the way, but it's so much easier now having it like this. I don't have to use a bit of paper to tip it back in, and I think I waste a little less. But as you can see here, I've got some clinging where I don't want it to, so I'm just using my little paintbrush again just to dust those out of the way. I might have dusted it a little bit too, I might have gone a bit too far there. Okay. Okay, so that's all that embossing done. That's directly on the card. I've already embossed and die cut the Made in the North Pole stamp and the little bit of foliage here. And I've also cut out a strip which is about 1.1 centimetres wide, and I've stamped the wishing you the happiest season of all. So we're going to put those together in a bit. Okay, so just put that to one side for a minute. So what we're going to do now is just build this scene together just before we fold the whole card in place. So let me just grab my DSP. So I have these pieces of DSP they come in 6x6, and I wanted to get 2 out of one piece. So that would be 3 inches. And as you can see, 3 inches isn't quite the right length that we need this piece to be. But that didn't matter because I was having this panel of snow at the bottom. So you can hand cut a curvy line, of course, that would be super simple. Or you could use the Home Together dies, and which are part of the Coming Home or Trimming the Town suite. And there is a curvy line for you. And of course there's the curvy stamp set, or the curvy dies that are out at the moment. There's those as well. I'm not quite sure if they would be suitable because I think they might have some dots, but they would probably work. So what I've done is I just cut the piece of DSP down to 3 inches. So that's half the width of the piece. And then I've cut them down to 13.9 centimetres, so that there's a ½ centimetre border all the way around. I then cut a piece of Whisper White, which is the same width, 13.9 centimetres, and I've positioned that into place like that. So let's put that to one side. So now I've got this piece, but it's too wide, but it's best to cut it down now once they're positioned together. So the piece that you want is 8 centimetres by 13.9. So if you're not following the same design, you just need a piece of DSP or whatever that size. So now this is going to be exactly the right size. I don't know why that's not cut perfectly. To fit in this position here. Okay, so let's bring our card back in and let's get that in place. So what we don't want to center it in this space because we're going to be sticking this part of the card, but we can center it at the top and just make sure this and this is roughly the same. So let's just grab some Tombow. And it just gives you a bit of wiggle room, doesn't it, if you're using a wet glue. And then let's just get that positioned like that. Okay, fabulous. Oh, actually, I do need the deer and the sleigh, so I need to just grab those. Hold on a minute. Okay, right, I've just tracked those down. I've been playing around with a prototype for a different Christmas card for my family, and I'd use them as, like, it's going to be very similar to this but a little bit more 3D, so they were kind of with that project. Right, let's get some I think, yeah, I've put dimensionals on the sleigh but not on the deer, so let's pop that in place. So I have the sleigh just below the snow line like that, and then the deer just goes in place like that. I was thinking, do I try and do some ropes and things, but I thought, no, you know, he's just standing there ready for when they're ready to go. Right, let's get him. So I've, again, his legs I'm putting on the snow, if you like. Okay, and then I'm going to bring in the Wishing You the Happiest Season of All, and just add some Tombow to the back of that. And I'm just going to position that right against that line there and across. Beautiful. Okay, so let's put this in place as well. So we just need some dimensionals again, just a couple on the back. And at an angle, just place that like that. And then the last piece is this piece. So it's going to go here. On my swaps, I actually put it at the top. So I might just wait until that's all in position. Okay, so now we're going to remove the tape, the backing off the tape. And this is the bit you've got to kind of do with confidence. Otherwise, it could go really wrong. So if you look, when that's folded this way, so you can see this strip, this piece is folded under. So what you want to do is have that strip so you can't see it. Have this completely flat. So this bit's on the bottom. And you're just going to fold it forward. Don't delay, don't stumble, because if you get it in the wrong place, you've got to start all over again. So that's the sort of thing you think you might do if you've never made one of these before. Maybe have a trial run on some scrap cardstock before you decorate it all. So we're literally just going to fold it like that. And then it's going to be in exactly the right place. Yay! So you can see it's dead simple when you know how. Right, so I don't know. Let's do it at the top just to be different. So I'm just going to add a teeny bit of Tombow. And I'm just going to position that like that. And I'm just going to grab my embellishments. All my embellishments I keep in this little folder. I don't have millions, but this is enough. It's got all my retired and my current. So my retired is near the back. A few other different brands as well, because sometimes it's just got to be done. Got tons and tons of these, absolutely tons. But at the front is where I keep everything that's done in the catalogue. And we're just going to get the trusty rhinestone gems that have been around for years, that are just perfect for so many projects. And I'm just going to put one of the small ones in the centre. So there we have it. This is my shadow box card, but slightly different to how you may have seen it before, that I did as a swap for the Any Bundle group, showing the Wishes and Wonder bundle from Stampin' Up. There's lots of silver embossing. It would look stunning, I think, in gold as well, but I just didn't have any gold DSP to match, so this is stayed in silver. I hope you enjoyed my videos. I don't do videos that often, but I've done 3 in quick succession from each other, as I really wanted to highlight all the swaps that I put forward at the Pinkies retreat. I've actually designed 2 of the projects this year for the retreat. Thank you, Michelle, for asking me. And there's 115 of us attending this weekend. So when you're watching this, it's going to be the weekend just gone. So I really hope that they like my projects, and hopefully you'll, if you subscribe to my blog, www.handmadebykim.co.uk, you'll see a post in the near future which shows you the projects that I created and the possibility to purchase a tutorial for one of those. So yeah, I can't wait for you to see them, and I really fingers crossed everyone loves them at the retreat. So thank you very much for watching. Like I said, I don't do videos often, so you may not see me about again for a while,